first time making 14 fucking $1,000, right? In my
Okay.
sales career, like recently, and I made like $14,000 after working with you. Hey, thank you very much for watching another episode of Nail the Sale podcast. Today, I have a man, the legend, with me right now. And if you don't know him, you don't know anybody in sales. So I have Jack with me right now, and I would love for you, Jack, if you can introduce us to yourself, because a lot of people in my list they know you already, but I want them
hmm
who don't know you. Please give us your introduction.
Yeah. Obviously, Jack, I'm from Sydney. I've moved to Dubai and been here for about the last 4 years. Before that, I was in the military for 8 years, in both the British Army and the Australian Army. Went overseas for the
Okay.
country a couple of times and then got out of that in 2022. I've been in sales ever since. And since 2022, I've scaled multiple businesses, all accumulated to about just over 40 million US through sales management and through coaching salespeople and running sales teams.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you very much for sharing that with me. So, Jack, I'm really glad you're here, actually. And most of the people they're listening and watching to this are not those like your ideal clients are that are making $80,000 a month, $50,000 a month as a closer. These people are not
Mm.
mostly they're not killers, not 20 or 30K months. They're making around like $3,000 to $5,000 per month. Some
hmm
are making like 10 or more, but of course they
hmm
want more, right? And they
Sure.
believe
Sure.
they can do more, but they feel
hmm
stuck. I mean, let me start here. If someone is making like $3,000 to $5,000 right now and
Mm.
wants to hit 10K, what is the real reason they are not there yet, do you think?
In almost all cases, it's the mechanism of the offer that they're in. It's the business. It may be the industry, but it could be within the industry. It could be the business. But I think it's proven by the fact that like you can see a salesperson. We met two salespeople aren't objectively, as we're saying, killers, but
Okay.
one can be making three, and someone of the very same skill level could be making 25 or 20 or 15, right? Is that
Mm,
if you're making that little, if you're making around three to
hmm
four thousand dollars a month, it's almost guaranteed that the offer you're in is just not there. Whether it doesn't have the lead flow, it doesn't have the ticket price, it doesn't have the desire and the demand. In almost all cases, if you're
mm,
making less than 5K a month, again, it depends. Like if you're an appointment setter, maybe it's reasonable. You're
okay.
in a good offer, but you make somewhere between 3 to 5 thousand. But even in that,
Yeah.
there's many appointment setting roles you make 15K. So it's your offer in almost
hmm
every cases, I would say.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. Yeah, and when you look at closers at that level specifically, because of course they're not appointment setters, is it mostly
Mhm.
like a skill issue, or I mean, is it something deeper than that, do you think? Other than if they're like on the right offer, just like
Okay, so
uncommitted,
if
there is
we
one account. Yeah.
sure. So look, if we equalize for the first thing and the foundation, and the offer is the foundation, and we look from there, any deficiency from that point, any sort of lack, if the person's making a little compared to what can be made, right? Like we're in
Okay.
say we're let's say we're in an offer where, for all intents and purposes, you can make 10K a month,
hmm
right? But you're making 4K a month, like we were saying. In that case, it's the skill is really the next
Okay.
thing. And in most cases, the salesperson will have an illusion that they think it's mindset.
Hmm.
When like if you knew what to say on the call, you would make money and you wouldn't have a bad mindset. If you had the skills, because all being on a sales call is communicating with the with the prospect. If you knew what to
Hmm.
say and you had the skill, then you would make the sales. And if you're making 10K a month, you'd be in a far higher frequency and state, and your
Yeah.
mindset issues would typically just go away all of a sudden. But a lot of salespeople use mindset as a cope for not dedicating to getting the right skills. Like they're kind of like, oh, I'm afraid on the call. Like, yeah, I would be afraid on the call if I didn't know what to say. So it's
Yeah.
really just having so much confidence through competence and getting the right skills. And then from there, like in anything, like in a sport, that's when you can start talking about like when you're in that top sort of 20% of people, that's when you can
hmm
start talking about your mindset. But you imagine trying to have a good mindset in a bad offer, like what would it do? Just make you more okay with the fact you're not making money?
Mm,
So ultimately,
mm,
if our goal is to feel good, it's a bit different to if our goal is to make more money. If our goal is to increase our income, we need to find the right vehicle and then have the right
yeah,
skills. And then what we can do to keep ourselves in peak performance all of the time is to have that mindset layer, the final layer, in my opinion. That's coming from someone I was in the military for 8 years, and if anywhere is associated with like mindset, it's the
yeah,
military. When in reality,
yeah.
in the military, it's simply just again a matter of having the right skill will get you
Mm,
the thing. Now, look, there are some caveats to that. Like, there's an
yeah.
argument that if you don't have a base mindset, how are you going to get the skills? Because you can't focus.
Mm,
Well, I'd say is just how simple it is, truly, to get to
mm,
5 to 10K a month.
mm,
The little amount of mindset you need to do the skills to make the 10K a month, it's really not
mm,
mindset. It's like at that point, do you really want to be in sales? If you need mindset training to get to 10K a month, it's really do you want to be in it? Because really getting to 10K a month in high ticket sales is almost all
yeah.
about, in reality, getting out of pain. It's not it's not
Hmm.
even it's not really like a mission based, growth based, even just having this championship mindset. Like really,
Yeah.
if you're in a decent offer and you
Yeah.
can listen to a coach giving you help, as long as you have
Mm,
enough like pain to get away from, like you really want to get out of your situation, that all the
hmm.
mindset you need will be the necessity that need
Okay.
to have the focus, to
Mm,
get the skills. And I think then if you can, those are the big levers, and then after that, you can get the mindset. But I would always ask someone before I ask about their
absolutely.
mindset, I would ask about their sleep routine.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. And that's one more thing I remember in one training, because I remember I made my highest check after working with you. Guys,
Yeah,
Jack is one of my mentor, and I made $14,000 living in Pakistan. And I actually bought property after that. And
nice.
Jack actually helped me out and make me understand what exactly sales are. But that's very advanced level. When he said like you have to make three th sales on the call, but that's a totally different thing. For you, there was a new closer on a team, and Jack once said, "Do the work, do the dials." And Jack, I want to slow down here for
Sure.
someone listening who feels busy but not productive, right? What
Mm,
does
mm.
doing the work actually mean in real life? Like, what should
That's
your
good.
week look like in numbers, not theory, just
Yeah,
like real inputs?
I understand. Yeah, so to get yourself out of busy work that's not getting you the results,
Mm,
right? Again, that's looking at what if you think of the work you're doing, like one person can work just as hard trying to
yeah.
dig or pick through mud, and someone else can go straight into a gold mine and work just as hard, if not less hard, and make more money.
Okay.
So again, we have to remind ourselves that the busy work, if you feel like it's
Mm,
not productive, you need to look at the mechanism or the vehicle or the CRM or the offer that you're actually selling. Is there money in this CRM? That's one thing. Now,
yeah.
once there is money, you can still be very unproductive in a lucrative or a CRM that has plenty of money in it. You can be very unproductive, right? So, assuming that
Mm,
there is money in this CRM we're talking about, all right, on this pipeline we're talking about, or if we're out prospecting, assuming that there are customers with money, right?
hmm
The main problem that most salespeople have why they don't turn their busy work or their work into money is because
mm,
either they're applying the wrong skill when they're going after it, or
yeah.
they're going after the wrong pipelines. And this is what's called order of priorities, or what I call order of priorities, which is,
Order priorities.
if you
Okay.
look in your yeah, so if you look in your pipeline, if you're an appointment setter, an outbound salesperson, a closer,
hmm
whatever it is, and you
hmm
look in your pipeline and you just blindly call the first person on your list, how do you know that person has the most money, who's nearest to close, and has interest, right?
Okay.
You just blindly they
Yeah.
may, and even the time zone. You've randomly called the first prospect. I've seen this where I've come into accounts and I've seen salespeople talking about doing their follow up, and they're calling a whole list that is asleep.
Yeah, I mean, they don't even
They're not
remember
even awake.
who, yeah, they don't even remember who Dan Henry is. you're working with them and
Mm,
you're calling their list. So yeah, but let's
mm,
make it even more practical. If someone wants to
all right.
become like a 10K closer, um,
Mm,
what does like a disciplined day look like from morning to night for them? Like,
mm,
how do they
yeah.
structure their time? Where do most
Mm,
people, do you think, waste time without realizing it? Because I know you take
well,
your own
right.
calls and you make a lot of money by yourself because you're not somebody, just a
Mm,
trainer you're the one who's actually closer as well. And you actively
mm,
sell. Shout out to you. So I
mm,
really want to know that
mm.
part.
So how do you actually structure your day effectively?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Well, it's exactly what I was saying before about before we know what to do right, we also need to establish what is wrong. And like I was saying, in the CRM, if people are going after the wrong pipeline by waking up and thinking that they're working hard by calling a bunch of people that are asleep, have no interest or no money,
Hmm.
right? You're not going to get very good results. So if you begin your day,
Hmm.
and again, it depends on your job. If you're an outbound salesperson, if you're an inbound salesperson, if you do both, right? It
Hmm.
really depends. So I can only sort of pick one, but let's say like if the person's both, right? For the case of example, they do their own outbound and they do inbound,
Yeah.
right? You need to work out what is the most high paying activity you can do as a salesperson, right? So I
That's
think
true.
anyone can tell just off the top of their head that their inbound bookings, right? Like
Hmm.
that typically makes them more money than when they call day 10 old leads, right? That doesn't
Right.
mean you don't call day 10 old leads, but like I said, an order of priorities is that what do you do? I would ask, like this is what you should ask yourself as a salesperson. What do you do when you get a no-show?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people on Instagram like to laugh about that they go back to bed, right?
Yeah.
So,
But
but what are
that's
you
the
actually
time to
doing?
make
Are you
actually
going to,
outbound calls and all. Yeah.
and then when you do go and out make the outbound calls, do you just like to make yourself feel better by sort of playing the work by calling a list randomly? Or do you sort of use some ingenuity to either ask your sales manager or yourself, create a smart view or a
Hmm.
list that makes sure that
Yeah.
the prospects are awake, they have the most
Hmm.
money, they're the most interested, however, which way you work that out. For example, a 7-day-old no-show is probably maybe more interested than a 60-day-old no-show. So you should
Yeah.
be as soon as you get a no-show, the simple activity is to call what is going to be the most likely person to pick up and be interested and have the money to commit, right?
Yeah.
That's one thing. Is it's always filling your time with an income generating activity. So you're not because you can't make
Yeah.
money doing nothing, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you got to look like if you could literally work out what is your commission per hour, not per sale, per hour,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
if you work for 2 hours, let's do some simple math.
Hmm.
You work for 2 hours,
Yeah.
right? And you close one person and you
Hmm.
make $500, you made
Hmm.
$250 an hour, right? You didn't make 500
That's
bucks. You
right.
could have made another five. You made 500, but you made 250 an hour, and your hours is yeah, your time is scarce. So
That's
you
right.
might have made 250 on the 500 on the first one, but on the second one, if you didn't just sit there and go watch TV, and if you set a couple of appointments for tomorrow,
Hmm.
you might
Hmm.
close one of those people tomorrow. They'll come
Okay.
through on, say they do a payment plan, and you get 250 out of that. You actually
Hmm.
got 500 for the first hour you made that inbound sale, and 250 for the setting of appointments you did in the second hour,
Hmm.
right? So that raises what you've made in those 2 hours to $750, and then you do the math divided by two, and that's what you made in those hours. You just made more money. So
Yes.
it's being precious about your time by going
Yeah.
after the most lucrative activities,
Yeah.
right? And last thing, otherwise, principle I would suggest is that um ultimately like you still need to train, right? Whether it's like at the
Hmm.
end of the day or your team, your manager does it. But I'd say like yeah, you just need to make sure it's not blind leading the blind. So you need to be around people that are doing better than you, whether that's listening to gold standard, like really good performing salespeople, or
Hmm.
having a coach, or having being in a community of people that are making money that is more than you, and you just
That's
need to
right.
pay to get access to it, or you know, because if you can't bring value through your experience, why why would people making more money than you want to teach you?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's not wrong that someone's off like they're asking for money for coaching
Yeah. I
because
mean, asking for help and
you
asking for
aren't
coaching is
bringing
not wrong, of course.
yeah like
And
you can ask for help like if people reach out to me in WhatsApp I'm happy to help to a degree But it's always
Mm.
about like just consider like if you don't have the any inherent value inside this sphere of sales and you're asking for,
Mm.
you're expecting to get results, like what are you putting out? Ask yourself, what are you putting it out into the market to get that skill that you're looking for? You need to be committing something. So you might need to get community, like a low ticket community. So go ahead.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I remember about you in your coaching what I learned that actually made me, when you say committing to something, how much of income is actually tied to identity? Like, can someone out earn the way they see themselves?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think you can. This is a very broad kind of
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's a
that's
bit
very
broad because
broad.
like at the end of the day, someone can think that they're worthless and then that will cause them to try to fill that gap with money. So it depends, like, you know, they can have it like a low self-image and identity, but still make 50 grand a month. But the difference is
Mm,
that person still thinks, this is the key. That person still thinks, even if they feel like they're worthless, they still feel like they can make 50K a month. Why is that? Because to them, even if they do make 50K a month, they're still worthless. So what I'm saying is
okay.
the money won't solve your worthlessness issue unless you think that you can't make 50K a month. You know what I mean? Because you're tying
Mm,
it to your identity. But some people genuinely feel like they're not a good person, something they did in their past, but they don't tie that to money. So it really depends on your limitation. It really depends on what type of identity. Let's say, for example, you come from a poor background and no
mm,
one you know has made a lot of money,
yeah,
right? Like that
yeah.
might be a reasonable identity issue where you're like, well, if no one around me like me has done it,
Mm,
why would I do it? Well, it's because no one that you know has done what you're going to do. The actions you're going to
yeah,
take are going to be different from what all those people have taken because the people
yeah.
that are making the money are just taking the actions. So you just need to take the
I
actions they're
can
taking
relate.
and
Yeah.
and then it will happen. So like for you, you made 14K in a month because
Mm,
you did better skills and certainly harder work than plenty of
yes.
people on that team that were from California or America or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah, yeah,
Doesn't
yeah.
matter.
Wherever. Yeah. And for someone who
I would
feels
always say,
behind right now, mhm,
I would also say one last thing is that I always ask this to people. It's surprising that every single time people go, yeah, well, yeah, fair enough. Is that a lot of people have these limiting beliefs, and I say to them, do you think that there was someone in a position harder than you that did that? And they're like, yeah,
mm,
probably. I'm like, okay, so why are you special? So you just got to
yeah,
consider that someone definitely is in a position harder than you that did it. And why are they like
damn,
why are they
yeah,
they're not special? They're the opposite. They've had it harder
mm,
than you. So people easier than you did it,
mm,
people that had it harder than you did it. Why are you
mm,
different? It's because a lot of the time people want to externalize responsibility to outside factors so they don't have to be hit with the
yeah,
consequence of looking in the mirror and realizing that it is all your fault. And
yeah,
once you tell yourself once you look in the mirror and say it is my fault, that's when your life will actually change and it won't feel that bad saying it. For a second it'll sting, and
mm.
then after that you'll be like, but that means I can do something about it.
Oh,
And you will no longer
yes,
be
that's
helpless.
true.
So
Absolutely. That's right.
um,
And that will actually make a huge difference. And I can 100% relate with it as well. Let's move into
yeah.
skills a little bit because, of course, I learned a lot from
Huh?
you. When you
Yeah.
listen to calls from broke closers, right? What is the most common mistakes you hear in discovery part?
Yeah.
Like what are
Yep.
they doing that like earlier in the call that actually kills their
Yep.
deals?
There's a lot, but ultimately, at the end of the day, they're not achieving the core objectives of
Okay.
discovery, right? That's just the principle. The core objectives of discovery, right? It
Mm,
depends on what you're selling. But for example, some placeholder objectives, like on most offers, is
yeah.
the first step is getting the prospect to give an in principle agreement in some way or admit that there needs to be some kind of narrative that's being built on the sales call that the prospect is admitting a deficiency and the effect
Okay.
of that. So a problem and what that's causing, right? That's what we need to do. If they're not achieving that, they're never going to have any chance, no matter how cool you sound. Now, second to
Mm,
that, right? If you are sort of in the general idea, I'm following my script, I'm going after my script. If you don't
mhm.
understand what a good answer is from all of the questions in your script, how are you going to know to fix the answer and probe and clarify if you don't know what a good answer is, you just kind of go and you read
Hmm.
your script on the sales call and hope that they end up giving you money. It's like that's not in world is that a profession? That's not a
You gotta
skill.
understand that
You're just
what
kind
will be
of
the real answer.
you're just saying speaking sounds into a microphone, hoping it turns into money in your account. That's not the skill. You need to look at all of the questions in your script in your discovery are some kind of device, some kind of method to help the prospect come to a level of awareness that you need for them to commit at the end of the call. Now, if their answer to your questions is below the awareness threshold that you need, like when you say, what are you looking to like what do you feel is holding you back, or what are you looking to achieve? And their answer is something like, oh, everyone wants to make more money, or everyone wants to, get healthy. Like if you can't see what's wrong with that answer, then you're gonna have a lot of trouble. And that's what a lot of salespeople lack is awareness. Most salespeople
Hmm.
lack awareness of what a good answer is, a bad answer from the prospect. So what
Hmm.
you see is that they either leave it all together, they just kind of
Hmm.
move on, even though the prospect said something poor. So they don't
Hmm.
see objections coming. That's another thing. When, like, with what I teach all my clients is just within about two,
Yes.
3 weeks, they can see every objection within about 8 minutes of the call. You can see it all
Yes,
just by
sir.
asking questions.
Yes.
But
Yes.
if you don't know that, second to that is a lot of salespeople. Another thing that's just pandemic in this industry. I
Hmm.
won't say the methodology. I think probably everyone knows, but there's
Okay.
a habit in the industry to ask like interrogative, full sentence psychologist or cross-examining interrogator questions. Like
Hmm.
what conversation in real, like it's just fundamentally the problem is not to get too bloodthirsty with it, but if you don't speak like that in real life, you have to understand that's making massive resistance to the prospect. So if you
Yeah,
go
don't say that on the calls too
when
then. Yeah.
like when you like if someone goes, when you say stressed, what do you mean by that? Like
I mean,
you
that
like
means
no one ever
stress. Come
says
on.
that. No one
Yeah.
ever says that in real life, so they're gonna know like
Nobody
that
says that.
it's just abnormal. So that's another thing is the
Hmm.
salesperson not being themselves and externalizing themselves once again to like a script that they don't understand. So how do you fix
Yeah.
these things? You need to get an understanding, a deep understanding of why you're saying what you're saying, what you're
Yeah.
hoping to achieve by what you're saying, and know
Hmm.
every possible thing the prospect can say to all of your questions.
Okay, awesome. Jack, if in 1 minute only or 30 seconds, if you can tell like what should be the exact structure of the call for anybody, like any industry,
Hmm. Yep,
and how they would know like
easy.
in the first 8 minutes, they know that what objections can come because we worked a lot on
Yeah.
objection finding, right?
Hmm.
Even in the beginning.
Hmm.
So I really
There's only
want them
three
to know as
objectives in
well.
the call.
Yes, yes, yes. That's my
Look,
favorite.
ultimately, I'll say this. There's two sales you need to make in the call and three objectives. The two sales you need
Hmm.
to make is selling them on making the change themselves in general, right?
Hmm.
And then the second is closing them on moving forward and making the change with you, right? Because
Yes.
you can get someone to commit to losing the weight, but they may not believe in your process for doing it, right?
Hmm.
So that's just two things. That's just two sales we need to make. We need to sell them on the change, and we need to sell them
Hmm.
on the change with you. Now, the objectives you do to achieve that, the first objective, broadly speaking, whatever your methodology is in sales, just in the emotional pattern of a human being, right? Is you got to understand that they're like the way that you get someone to commit to your beliefs, which is to buy the product you're selling, is to you
Hmm.
need to give them positive or gain beliefs of some kind. But the only way that you will do that is if you remove their existing limiting beliefs. Otherwise, they would have done it already. The
Hmm.
only way to remove their limiting beliefs is to get the prevalence of pain. So that tells
Hmm.
us what the objectives will be. The first objective is to get the admittance or someone to admit a problem that they can't solve or solve on their own or solve as good as you can. That's the first
Hmm.
objective. The second
Yes,
objective is
yes,
selling them on the actions they'll be able to take when they're at their goals. And then the third
absolutely.
objective is selling them on the superiority of your process, mechanism, or thesis. Now, to your
Okay.
second question, you said there at the end of it could have how do we see the objections? By the
Yeah.
end of the first objective, when you're getting them to admit a problem, if you see an externalization of responsibilities to again to an outside factor, like a bad sales, that's why bad salespeople are always bad prospects if they're on a sales call, and vice versa.
Yes.
If you're a bad prospect, you're going to be a bad salesperson. But Because sales is, as always people say about congruence, if you hear a prospect
Mm,
giving excuses,
mm,
like of a reason, that because you're asking them questions about where that problem's come from, what they've been doing to solve the problem, pretty much you're going to get 80% of objections if worked out if you just ask the prospect, what have you been doing to fix it, get better, or solve the problem. They'll tell you like,
that's
well,
right.
I've been really busy at work. Everyone, the coaches are a scam. It's always something that's not their fault. That's how you can see the objection. That will be the objection at the end.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Does that make
and
sense?
thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a lot. And when I remember, and I want to bring this home clearly. Like if someone listening right now is making like
Mm,
$4,000 per month and they are like serious about $10,000 within like 90 days, what
mm,
are the exact actions they need to start tomorrow? Because I know you teach all of that inside your program as well. What should they focus on daily? Like,
mm,
what should they remove immediately? And what
mm,
should they like track every week to know they're
mm.
improving?
You really only need to know the first step to that. If you're at 4K a month, you only need one step. Remove every single, other than family and all that good stuff goes without saying, but just literally remove every single obstacle, reason, whether they're justified or not, for why you aren't hunting for jobs all day. Because you should be looking for a better job. If you're making under 3K a month, all you should be doing is
Mm,
looking for job opportunities. I had someone come to me last week that was making like 4K, and they asked me, I said, how many jobs have you applied for? And they applied for like three or something in the last like month or something like that. I'm like, you should be hunting like every single day to the point where you've
mm,
exhausted all opportunities from job like recruiting platforms and going and speaking to people that are making more money than you and just DM
yeah,
them. Don't be afraid to be annoying. That's just the way to
yeah.
say, like, I don't know,
I mean,
I'll
that's how
buy
it
you a coffee
works.
if you live
Yeah.
in my area. Like, just you need to ask. Now, there's other approaches. That's a DIY approach, and I think that's it's a minimum viable working approach. The other
Okay.
reality is that like I don't want to say that you have to. I don't sell a group course or anything like that. But
Hmm.
generally speaking, like if you buy some kind of like 5K and up group coaching course, you do get access
Hmm.
to like better jobs a lot of the time. But that
Because
said,
of there's a lot
like
of
I didn't
network
do
as
that.
well of closers. Yeah, because there's a lot
Yeah,
of
but I
other
didn't do
closers
that.
network. I know you don't do that. I mean, mostly
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
can just like tell us like a little bit about what exactly you help within your coaching program, because of course I saw it, there's a lot of good testimonials there.
yeah. Yeah, I don't work with guys that are making under 20K a month at
Absolutely.
US, at least with sales. My main business is consulting for CEOs and sales managers to scale their
Mm,
sales team, their sales org, some of their back end customer success, their funnel, and stuff like that. So I do
mm,
end-to-end sales operations, whether
mm,
it's new customers or renewing customers. Then on the
mm.
side, I do one-on-one coaching with some reps trying to go from like 20 to sort of 60, 70, 80K a month,
Yes.
right? To help guys get advanced. But what I would say is
Mm,
if most of your audience is in a position where they're making around 10K a month or less, if you
hmm.
simply just go to my Instagram, you'll see in
Yeah.
the link in the bio at the bottom, there's careers page. It's doesn't your money's like, I don't need your money. You just go there and you can apply to be in my hiring pool because all of
Yes.
those clients that I do the sales management for, they need sales reps. And if you
Oh,
make an
yes.
application, you actually put in
Yes.
your best effort and you do the application, then when it comes time for me to sit down with the CEO and they need a new salesperson, we look through the list.
Mm.
So I don't charge for recruiting. A lot of people charge for recruiting, to like you have to pay to get into the community to get the jobs.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
do
right.
that
Yeah,
because
you
you just
mostly
apply.
post sales roles. I know, like if somebody's looking for and you're working, like you're working with your team, you actually help like good
Yeah.
closers. I know that, and of course,
Yeah.
Jack, a lot of new people are coming in sales. A lot of people are already making like 10K, and you made your way from selling only. I mean, of course, from military to selling, and then, at this level where you are living in Dubai, a very high life,
Hmm.
and I can see the buildings at the back right now. And,
Yeah.
plus you are making good money, and of course we are proud. Um,
Hmm.
so that was a ladder, right, to be successful. I mean,
Yes.
what is the uncomfortable truth we salespeople need to hear right
Mm-hmm.
now to be
Hmm.
successful? Like, because of course that's the first step we are in.
Yep. Yeah, pain is the sign you're making the correct decisions most of the time. So if you're in pain and you're acting, you're not sitting there in pain, swirling, not doing anything. But if you're taking actions and it's causing you pain, it's probably a sign you're moving in the right. So which means that there's no escaping the pain. I was making 3K a month Australian, which is probably about just under 2K,
Mm,
in late 2020, in mid 2022.
mm.
And now I last month I made the most ever. I made 145,000.
Whoa,
And it's
wow,
3 years away, three
congratulations.
years difference.
Yeah, of course. I
So,
mean,
and it's not to flex. It's just I literally came from the military. I never finished school. Like, what excuse? I was in the infantry. I didn't even work a job where I was around civilians. I didn't have to be
mm,
polite. I didn't have to persuade people. I didn't have to do. I had none of these
yeah,
skills. None. None.
yeah.
Like, and I had to leave the military, which is a very certain job where you get your salary no matter what. Like, your food's taken care of, your bedding's taken care of. Like, I had a lot of certainty, and I was indoctrinated into that for nearly 10 years. And then I got
Mm,
out, and I could have, lived it up and partied, but I took the money that I saved and I went home and I moved back in with my parents. And I got into my attic. And at first, I didn't even have a desk. The laptop was burning my thighs as I was trying to figure this out, right? And then, within a couple of months, I had a sales job, and within a couple of months, I built something up and built the team up, and
yep,
you
yep,
know, within
yep.
9 months of starting in sales, I got to Dubai. So if you literally just
Wow,
push, you got to realize that. Don't get me wrong, it takes time, but
it takes time.
don't use that as an excuse. Don't use that as an excuse to not push hard, because it doesn't have to take as long as you might think if you
Oh
if you
yeah,
push.
yeah,
And I
that's
can just
right.
tell you the main thing I remember from those 9 months was just stomach swirling pain of not making money and
Mm,
working and not making money and working, and that adjustment of going from a 9 to 5 or a salary to the concept of working for 10 hours and making $0. But
yeah.
I was putting in the time to get to develop the skill where a lot of people would probably just quit. And because of that,
Mm,
within 9 months, I know I was making like 20K a month or something. And then,
amazing.
new, as they say, new levels, new devils. So you're going to
Yeah.
constantly hit these obstacles as you go from 5 to 10.
Yeah, I remember once I said, "Yeah, you can make it because you're the Jack Rocky," and you said, "I'm not a scientist. Like I also like practice and learn, and you all can do that too."
Yeah.
And
If
yeah, that's
anyone, if
amazing.
anyone's, I'd say this, if anyone says that, what that is fundamentally, I understand this as a person and a salesperson. If anyone says, well, you're that, what that means, like they don't need to tell me. If it is the case, I know that. So why are you saying it? You're saying it to comfort yourself so you can again externalize responsibility to say, well, this is the reason I'm not successful. Well, let's just say that's true.
Sham
Okay, let's say it's
Pichu.
true. How does that change anything? You know what I'm saying?
Okay, can
Like
you say that one
let's
more
say
time?
Yeah, like let's say it's true, right? You're saying to me, "Oh, you're the Jack," or someone says
Okay.
you're this. Like one, it's not true. Like we established that, but let's say it is true because you believe because the salesperson that's not performing, they believe it. They're like, "Oh, it's yeah,
Mm,
you're special." Okay, let's say that is true. What are you gonna do about it in your life? Because you're
yeah.
still you. So what are you going to do? Like,
Yeah.
if you had no leg, what are you going to do? Go, well, lucky for him, he wins the running race. Okay, maybe you won't win a running race, but you can go do something else. Like, it doesn't give you an excuse just because someone's luckier, even though I'm not, I worked for it.
Mm,
But like, but
mm,
let's say I was luckier than you. Like, how does that change your situation? Does that mean because I'm lucky, you're going to give up? No. So
no.
you need to look at your situation, nobody else, and go, what do I need to do? No one else exists. What do I need to do? And then execute. And a lot of the time in sales, if you're not where you want to be, it's because you either don't have the right job position, which means you haven't been trying to
Mm.
find it, or you don't have the skills because you haven't been trying to find them. And I can tell you, you could be broke and still achieve most of those things because I
Thank you
did.
very much, Jack. That
So,
that was that was
you
amazing.
know,
And I
no
appreciate
worries, man.
for being hopping on. That was amazing value. And you guys, if you're still not implementing, and if you're making like $20,000, first you gotta listen to this podcast. Second, you gotta hop on and speak with Jack.